Hello again, YouTube. Alright, so last video I got some very basic platforming controls with a single one-speed horizontal movement and some very basic jumping. So in this video I'm going to be refining those controls a little bit. So last video I got a little bit cut off due to time constraints. So what I wanted to mention was that you can always edit this value to make the player jump higher. So I've changed it from a -2 into a -3, and this will make you jump a little higher. So between this video and the last video, I've changed the player sprite into a very simple stick figure. And I've also added a bit of a simple walk cycle. So you can see in the little show preview thing, I've just got a little bit of a walk cycle where the player moves. And so yeah, that's pretty much all the changes I've done. So we can run the game again. And you can always just press Z to jump. Since I've increased the jump height from -2 to -3, you can jump significantly higher. And yeah, so you can just sort of jump around. Of course, the stick figure is not animated at all yet, and there are ways to set that up, and that's probably what I'm going to be going over next. So, as you can see, I've already implemented this little walk cycle here, and what I'm going to do is instead of just making these then statements, I want these to do multiple things. So I'm going to set these to curly braces, just so these can take multiple actions each. Just a reminder, I don't say this enough, I think. I always indent these things and put the curly braces around in this manner, but you can really put the curly braces in any way you want. You could just enter them right there. You could unindent this, and it would still function exactly the same. So I just figured I'd add a little reminder there that my syntax is not the only one that works. Alright, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make use of a certain built-in variable called image_x_scale. And this is just sort of the scale horizontally of your character. So the player sprite is currently facing right. So when it's facing right, I want to make sure that it is image_x_scale equals 1. When it's facing left, however, I'm going to set its image_x_scale to -1, which is basically it's going to be reversed. It's going to be a mirror image. So now, without adding any special animations, changing the sprite or anything, you can see that when I move left, it may be a little hard to see, but you can see that my head is slightly shifted over, because basically my head is the only thing that's not symmetrical in my sprites so far. But you can see that sort of shifts over, and I can sort of, when I face both directions, but I want to do a little better than that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say sprite index, and sprite index is another built-in variable, and it's basically the object's current sprite. And I'm going to say player walking, and then I'm just going to set that equal up here. And then, so what this is going to do is it's going to basically mirror the walk cycle. Of course, I haven't set it to go back to its still sprite yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple more events, which are if keyboard check released. Actually, I shouldn't do that. I should say if not keyboard check VK right and not keyboard check VK left. So checking if neither of the arrow keys are pressed. Then sprite index equals player still. So basically, if you're not holding either of the arrow keys, the sprite index will be player still, just sort of a non-walking animation. Otherwise, you'll be walking. So now we can look at this in action. So let's just wait for it to load. As you can see, when I go back and forth, I walk very fast. Actually, I should have set down the image speed a little bit. You can see that my legs and arms are moving, and yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to set the image speed to 0.125, or 1/8. So it's just going to go 1/8 as fast as it would by default. So every 8 frames, the animation will advance a frame. So as you can see, I'm sort of slowly walking around. I'm getting caught in the bottom of the blocks. I'll fix that this video. You can see that I'm sort of walking around, my arms are moving. It's a pretty small animation, so it may be a little hard to see, but yeah, so I can sort of walk around, and so yeah, and of course I'm getting caught in these blocks, and you may be wondering how I'm going to fix that. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a very simple script for if collision rectangle x minus 8 y minus 7 x plus 8 y plus 7 O wall parent. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. I did make one slight change, which is that instead of being O block, being the collider, I've made a parent O wall parent for all walls. So when I add more in the future, I can just have it all under one collision. So, and then I'll set x equals x previous. So what this is doing is I made a rectangle for a collision, which is it's almost completely my entire sprite, except it's minus 8, except it's 8 out horizontally and only 7 out vertically. So this means that I can still stand on things without constantly having my x equal x previous. But as you can see, actually, yeah, that didn't work quite so great because I'm still getting stuck against some of these blocks. And now I can't get up here. So I'm gonna have to rework the level. I think it's because you spawn just a little bit. Below the top of the block, and so you're still colliding with it. And there is a way to fix this, which is basically what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to set this to plus v speed. So this means that when you're falling, your hitbox will sort of expand downwards accordingly. So this will mean that I fall very smoothly and I won't sink into the block anymore. But yeah, so now as you can see, I can just sort of go on the blocks, and if I add a little wall over here, remember, oh, I just added the wall parent. So let me just delete that. But remember that this is just a very, very simple x equals x previous I'm doing. It's not really that complicated. But if I just add like some walls over here, you can see that if I first of all, if I try to walk into them, I just stop. If I jump against them, I just sort of smoothly stop against them. Now, I should probably do one thing, which is I should probably make my horizontal hitbox quite a bit smaller. So basically what I have is almost a square hitbox right now, and my sprite is much more thin than it is. It's not exactly a square. It's like my sprite is a bit too thin to be a full square. So what I've done now is I've just sort of basically I just subtracted 3 from my horizontal hitbox. So now as you can see, I don't have that big of a gap when I'm colliding with things. So for some reason I'm getting stuck a little bit here. And there are ways to fix that. Basically I could make my hitbox a little bit cleaner. But basically this is just sort of some very simple collision detection. And I think what I should do is I should make my collision for setting the v speed to 0 a little bit smaller, because then I won't get stuck against the blocks in midair. And I should probably make my jumping hitbox about that small. I'm just gonna set this a little smaller too. And then, of course, if you want some really precise hitboxes that won't really fail you at all, you can do plus h speed to these. So this will shift by. Oh wait, never mind. That doesn't exactly work. Because I just realized that I haven't really gone over the h speed variable yet. So h speed is your horizontal speed, and so I can set this to 2, and I can set h speed to -2. And I've just realized I'm running out of time again. So just trust me, the h speed is your horizontal speed. Setting your h speed to 2 will just add 2 each step. And see you next time, YouTube.